prior to 2012, okay? And there were YouTube videos all over about this, right? So you can trace it all back, right? And so after they were working on that at the energetic level, okay, right, in the etheric realms, right? That's what you can do with your consciousness in 5D. You become an energy being, you become a light worker, and you can go into the etheric realms through meditation, right? And start working with these etheric energies to create new, what we call templates, right? New energetic constructs, right? That can be used by our consciousness to push out into our physical world what it is we want, okay? Right? To level up, okay? So these new 10 strands of junk DNA magically were discovered in 2012 by our scientists. However, much earlier, the light workers, the starseeds, were actually trying to bring them down into the physicality using our energy healing practices, right? Meditation, intent, okay? Visualization, right? And they succeeded in pulling it down, okay? Pushing it out, okay? Using their thought energies, right? And now, lo and behold, these 10 new strands of DNA are starting to be activated within the starseeds, okay? Now this DNA is for every human, okay? So that means every human has these 10 extra strands. So what we starseeds do for the rest of humanity applies to everyone, okay? You know, we're not here to be special. We're just here to show the way. Okay, we're genetically just like you, okay? Right? Only we have the extra perspective to be able to claim and use our power, right, to change the 3D world for the better, right? So DNA is changing, right? So that once you tap into the DNA, you can start clearing, right? This new DNA is going to allow us to clear all dysfunction and disease and illness in our bodies, right? So as you go through this ascension process, right, your DNA will change and your body will align, right? But it is a process, and depending on how bad off you are in your body, how dense you are. I was very, very dense, right? Cancer is very, very dense, okay? Sorry. But, you know, when we get the cancer, we got a lot of work, kids. We got a lot of work, right? But all is well. Your victory is assured as long as you stay on the straight and narrow path, okay? The middle way, okay? Head straight through 4D, right into 5D, okay? You're going to see lots of shadows, but all is good because we're all here to guide you through, okay? Help you process your shadows, right? Because what are these shadows? They're all illusion. They're just your negativity, your negative beliefs, everything, all the monsters in your closet, okay? They're all energy constructs, right? It feels like it's real energy, dense energy, right? Affecting your thoughts, affecting your behavior, affecting your feelings, right? That's what you're clearing, okay? Right? All the dark, right? You know, maybe in your childhood, you know, your mother says something to you that made you feel ugly, made you feel unloved, right? Made you feel like she wasn't nurturing you properly, right? Then you create a judgment in your mind that you're not worthy, that you're ugly, that you'll never be loved, or you're unlovable. See, these thought constructs, right, become shadows in your field, and they start collecting other shadows, right? Okay, as you go along, because it gets reinforced until you recognize that it's time to clear it, right? To feel those feelings of unworthiness and recognize that where they came from and that they're really not true, right? And when you recognize that, then the shadows turn into light, right? Because ultimately, everything really is light, right? And it's just our misperception that creates the shadows, right? So it's easy for me to say, I know, now that I've gone through the valley of the shadows, it's easy for me to look back and say, oh, wow, of course, you know, it makes perfect sense. That's why I had cancer. It makes a lot of sense, and it makes perfect sense how you undo it, you know. But when you're going through it, it's a little scary and confusing, right? So having way showers like me share our stories will help. Lori Spagna, she's awesome. I'm going to link her another training video she has that's really going to delve deeper into why this work is absolutely beneficial and necessary for every single human on earth, and it's actually inevitable that we all ascend, that we all go through it, okay? Right? And it will get easier and easier, right? As more star seeds go out there and start popping like popcorn, right? It'll be infectious, right? And then once we make it to 5D, then you start attracting to you everything that's 5D, right? So like I said, I don't call up Lori and say, Lori, you know, I need you to help. That's 3D, right? So I just tune in to my heart and my meditation, and I tune into her. And we've never met, right? But I tune into her, and sure enough, her soul exists inside my heart. Just as I knew, everything exists inside of you, right? That's why I can talk to Jesus, you know, so I can talk to anyone. I can talk to anyone who's ever lived, okay? I can probably talk to anyone who will ever live in the future. That's probably why I'm able to contact some of these extraterrestrials, you know. Some of them are from our future, right? Remember, technically, in divine time, everything is now, right? Past, present, future is all now. Okay? It's only in the 3D world that it seems like there's separation. It seems like the past is, you know, not here, and the future is somewhere out there, or, you know. But in the divine perspective, which is the all, okay, everything is just all. Everything is just now. And when you go into 5D, that's the state of being that you're at. Very much now, very present, right? Because everything really is just the all. The all is happening in the present moment, right? And we are just individualized expression of it, choosing in the present moment, right, our response to our reality, right? And therefore, we start creating and dancing with our universe, choosing and choosing, right? Choosing the highest possible outcome in every moment, right? Yeah, it's a fun way to live, much more fun than 3D. And your life is going to be so much simpler and more beautiful and soul-centered, right? And all the angst will be gone. You'll be in a state of deep, deep peace and joy and bliss most of the time. Now, it doesn't exempt you from having problems, you know, but you don't perceive problems as problems in 5D. In 5D, problems are opportunities to grow, not opportunities to love, opportunities to change, opportunities to see things from a higher perspective. It's because we get it, we get the game, right? We get that we are eternal spiritual beings playing an eternal game of form with energy, right? How easy is that? You know, when life is just that, right? Yeah, no more college education and PhDs, right? Because in 5D, you tap into anything you want through the heart. So if I want to tap into Lori, right, I just go into my heart, and sure enough, she came through, her soul came through, and started working with me, showing me how to clear density from my arm. And she was showing me that my arm was a representation of some really deeply stored, almost, it's this very deep stored lack of self-love, right? You know, like body shame, like I think I've explained in previous videos that I used to didn't like my body, felt very shameful about my body, and it was causing this the manifestation of this arm, you know, because obviously if you don't like your body, then your body's going to like manifest something that's going to look, you know, not too likable, right? Until you learn to love yourself, right? So Lori was working with me in meditation, right? Telepathically, and we were actually, I was seeing her in my third eye. We were just talking, and she was showing me within myself, you know, how to identify the cause, identify the areas of cellular density that I need to look at and release, right? And as I was doing it with her, you know, my body was showing me holographic images and belief structures and even actual like release of inner children. Like I call them like my little chihuahuas, but they would come out, and it was like little bits of me that come out, and they would start tearing up and crying and demanding like demanding recognition, right? Demanding that they be heard. So this is inner child work. It's really interesting. So so it's like in 5D you get a little bit, because you're interacting with so many different vibrations. Yeah, you get a little bit kind of I won't say it's like functional schizophrenia, right? Where you know you're just tapping into a lot, right? Because your brain is so on that you're tapping into so much that's just how you process, right? And in 3D, schizophrenia is considered a negative thing, because in 3D, schizophrenia is impure, right? It's like a label, like you label it as bad, and then people that are experiencing it are being judged as bad, and because of that judgment, they are doing, you know, crazy kind of dysfunctional things, you know, and that's just because of the 3D way. But 5D, our brains are actually more harmonious and more in balance, and so we're not technically schizophrenic. We're just highly functional, right? You know, and don't assume that everything that we call disease, or like in 3D, people think cancer is bad. In 5D, people know cancer means you need to learn to forgive, right? In 3D, people call schizophrenia bad. But in 5D, we know schizophrenia just means, oh, your brain is coming online and functioning better, right? It's just different perspectives. And in 3D, normal people are robots. They behave in certain ways that are only normal because they are behaving in a really narrow, small box, right? Right? You know what I'm talking about? How to behave normal? It's like they're just behaving like little robots, right? So normal people in 3D are actually considered very dysfunctional in 5D. Normal people in 3D are only left brain dominant, and they pretend, or they think that they're only their bodies, and that there's only physicality out there, and that other people are really other people, okay? So in 5D, we look at that, and we know that that's not the highest truth, and that is very dysfunctional, right? So in 5D, we know there is nothing out there. Everything is within our consciousness, because our consciousness is so expanded. We see it for what it is, right? And we become creator beings, right? Because we know it's all us. The other is you, right? And we can move through our blocks better because we become more self-aware. So that's 5D living. And if we move fully into 5D, all the pain and suffering, disease is just gone. It's a thing of the past, right? You're in a state of heaven, right? It's heaven on earth. 5D is heaven on earth, right? That's where we're going, folks. That's where I just kind of just moved into recently, feeling really open-hearted, manifesting so well, pulling into my reality. It's this new stuff. Like I stated, I wanted a really awesome day, and I got a really awesome day. We went into Seattle, and you know, remember star seeds are rare, right? We're like maybe 1 in 100, and it's rare to be walking around a busy city and bump into one, right? And sure enough, I set an intention today to kind of like, you know, have this awesome connection and awesome experience. And I was waiting for my husband and my son to finish this event that was happening at the Space Needle. And so I was talking to this artist that had a bunch of his pictures for sale, and his name was Morgan. And as I was talking to him, I loved his pictures so much, I wanted to buy some of his prints. We just had this heart connection, right? And he had these beautiful, beautiful eyes, and I just knew there was something about him. And we sat down and talked, and before I even knew his name, we had already talked for like an hour, and it was like a conversation that was like a starseed 5D conversation, the kind of conversation that you would never have on 3D Earth, you know. I mean, we were talking about what he saw through his third eye, how his drawings and how his paintings flow through him, okay? And we did a meditation together, and I just said, hey, you want to, you know, I think you're a starseed, you know, you want to meditate with me? And he's like, yeah, because I feel really connected to you. I'm like, yeah. So we were meditating together, and we were just seeing stuff. Like, I started seeing his consciousness through my third eye, and he had so much not information, but they were like in 3D holographic structures with colors and lights, and he was just full of it, right? And I could tell like he had a lot of creativity. He was a really good artist because he was just this pure vessel for this universal creativity to flow through him. There's so much in it that was flowing through him. And then I asked him what he saw during his meditation about connecting with me, and he said he just saw flashes of white light, which, you know, maybe I'm just not that interesting, but he saw flashes of white light when he was meditating with me, which is great, you know. And we just shared from the heart, and he was so happy to have met me, another starseed. And he didn't even really think of him as a starseed, but when I meditated with him, I told him, like, I saw the cosmos in you, you're starseed, right? We just know. And he's like, wow, that sounds really good. It sounds like I am, you know. And I was waking him up. So what's cool is, you know, this connection to him was so wonderful, and I was sharing this message with him about 5D Earth and where we're going, and then he literally was finishing my sentences. He had already created 5D Earth in his mind and was living it, right? That's why I knew he was a starseed, because his vibration was so pure and high and beautiful, and I just knew, right? And yeah, so you know, he's coming from his individualized perspective, which is to share art, right, and heal through art. And I, of course, am healing through making these YouTube videos and healing, you know, my cancer and everything that goes with it, right? So starseeds help humanity in so many ways, you know. And I want to show you this art that I bought from him. Okay, I bought 3 prints, but this is one of my favorites. Isn't it beautiful? The camera does not do this picture justice. It's a beautiful picture drawn with pencils, colored pencils. Beautiful. Look at that shading and the depth. This is just one of many beautiful, beautiful pictures that he's drawn just by downloading this information from his third eye, right? It's amazing what starseeds can do when we tap into our creative source. And we can all do that. You know, you can be, this is the most creative person in the world. You can be somebody that is so different from what you are now, if you just allow yourself to transform and move into 5D. Yeah. Okay, so watch Leor Spagna's training video, right? If you really want to go down this path seriously, because she's the real deal. She'll explain it all to you and the process, right? I'm not here to reinvent the wheel, but her processing and everything that she has experienced, I personally have experienced before I even met her, right? So I know it's true. Her process is true. Even her solution for breast cancer almost mirrored my journey exactly, right? I mean, I'm not in sync with Lori. That's why when I meditated and called her to help me, she came right away, because it was like the universe is starting to reflect to me what it is that is already within me, and so that's why I knew that Lori was within me, right? Because I manifested that experience. That's why I knew I can get to her through meditation and start having these personal training sessions with her without going through the 3D, route, which is actually backwards, right? But you're still in the 3D. I understand most of us are, so it's okay to still use the 3D ways to kind of progress through. Okay, but eventually, as you hit higher and higher levels within the ascension process, right, the more energies will come in to support you to do things more 5D like, right? Okay, guys, I'm gonna sign off now, and I've got lots to say on this topic, and things change every day. It's getting really, really exciting now. I'm happy to share. Until then, I love you, and I honor you on your journey. Namaste.